Welcome everyone to the Eve Growing Concepts. Today's video is going to be the most recent do-it-yourself fermenting bin build. All the other videos I've done, disregard them. This is the one that you want to follow. Now, one may say, well, Mark, why don't you take out all the old videos that you've already done so it's not so confusing. And I keep all my old ones to remind myself of the time spent on this particular vermiculture concept or worm farming concept that is designed specifically for inner cities, so we can start turning all this organic material into awesome soil amendments. Many of us organic gardeners know that worm castings are garden gold. You add your worm castings, which is a soil amendment, to your soil base, you bring them together and you're growing food where everybody has a green thumb. So with fermenting, the time does go. 4 weeks time frame from the time I pack a bin, add my reds, cap it. I date it 4 weeks. Now, it's not completely done after the 4 weeks because my timeline is usually 8 weeks, but it's a good time to see if you've done it right. And these days, if you followed my last video posted on how to pack a fermenting bin, a fresh fermenting bin with all fresh new material, you'll see that you're not going to get the thermophilic action, that heating up of the bin. You're not going to get that if you follow those steps. And that's important because you do not want to have a massive die out. And that's one concern when you're doing fermenting in such a tight space. Now, the beauty about this system is, besides the fact that you pack it, add your reds, cap it, leave it, you don't have to even look at it for 4 weeks. The beauty about that is you can do it in your apartments, your condos, anywhere you live. You can have a tower that looks very similar to this. This is a Grow Eve Grow Tower, which I'm going to do a build on that someday, Mark. We'll talk about why I haven't, but we're going to do it as promised many years ago. So I keep my videos up there to remind myself of the work I've done. I've got way more than my 10,000 hours on the fermenting system. And I've compared it for myself with continuous flow systems. If you've seen some of my videos, or if you're on my Facebook groups where I open source these ideas, they're closed groups where all are welcome. And it's all about open sourcing these Eve growing concepts. And Eve growing is, if those of you who don't know, Eve is the acronym for Eco-Vertical Evolution. It reminds us of the sacred feminine as it combines soilless growing with soil. We contend here at Eve Growing that whatever the soilless grower can do, we can do it better using soil. We can do it easier, cheaper, and it's far better for the planet on many levels. Now, I want to also say I got a link below on my Clubhouse where I talk about all these videos that I'm doing. That is where we're going to come together and talk about it, and that's where you can ask questions. So if you're not on Clubhouse, please consider joining Clubhouse. It's an audio app where we can talk freely, like it's a phone, and we can have a bunch of people in the same room asking questions about Eve growing principles. So let's get on with the build, and we'll go from there. All right, first of all, we're going to start with a bucket and a lid. This is an old bucket, and when you're looking for buckets out there, they're being thrown out all day long, you want to look for the 90 mil. Can you see that? The 90 mil right there. Most of them are already food grade, and you know this one's food grade because you see a 2 right there. Hopefully you can see that. And this is a 6-gallon. You could use a 5-gallon. That's a 6-gallon bucket. Now let's drill some holes. Now what I'm going to start off is I'm going to use a 1.5-inch drill bit. Now the reason why I'm using this bit is because it's the perfect size for a Gatorade bottle. And I get my Gatorade bottles at baseball field. All right, so what I'm going to do, 4 top holes, aeration holes up here. Now I used to use regular soda bottle tops like this one here, but they're kind of small. And this one, and that was a 1/2-inch hole that I used to drill. These are Gatorade that require a 1.5 inch, so there's more aeration getting into the bucket. And then we're going to drill 4 bottom aeration holes, and you want to come up a little off because when you clean these fermenting bins, you want to be able to have your card to go under very easily without bumping. I used to go like really close to the bottom, as close as I can, and that was not, it makes it difficult to clean the bucket. So I like to go a little from the bottom. 1. Just enough so I can get my card under it and clean it. 2. See, that's not... 3. You want to start out slow, as you can tell with this particular bit. You don't want to really grip on too fast or it'll ruin the hole, like I almost did with that last one. All right, now, so we've got a total of 8 holes, right? These are our aeration holes. And even the lid, we want to do a 1.5 inches. Okay, now for the bottom drain, this is the drain hole. We want to use a 1/2 inch for the bottom drain hole. Right here. All right. Now the reason why we use a smaller hole for here, because when this bucket goes on top of the next bucket, you want that drain hole to be bigger underneath there. You see how that'll go right in? So it'll go directly to the next bucket and down right through the system. All right, now we want to put our aeration fittings or our eave grow fittings onto there. Now these eave grow fittings, I'll show you how to make those. Let's do the bottom aeration first, which is just a regular Coke bottle, Pepsi bottle. And you want to take the top off here with your pipe cutters. Cut the top off like that, and then cut the head off like this. So it looks kind of like that. Now,
this one here. Top off.
Then you want to make some strips. So you want to use this bottle. Everything is used here, guys, and everything can be found freely in urban settings. So what I do is this, cut both these off, like that. Get my scissors and kind of straighten it out. Cut it here. Then you want to make some strips about the size of the inner chamber of the aeration fitting. I usually get about 8. I usually get 8 or 9 out of there, strips. These aeration fittings are awesome for any vermiculture bin you're trying to make. It helps to keep things in and keep vermin out. And I am just, there's many uses with these eave fittings. I call them, as you can see. I call them, as you see in my my towers. That's how I poke my plants in for now. This one's a little kind of straighten this out a little bit. All right, so we got these strips now. Right in there like that. Okay. This one. Fit it. The more you fit it in there, and the tighter you can get this in there, the longer it'll last for you. What I like to do is just poke it in a little bit, and then cut the ends off. Then poke it in right up to the front, and we've got our bottom drain one. This plastic thing can come off for the drain. Come on, get in there. And then clean all these holes with your utility knife. Take all that extra plastic off. All right, so this is my fermenting system in my basement. There's 64 buckets that I'm juggling. I was going to juggle 84, but I just don't necessarily need 84. I may go there someday, but for now, I'm juggling 64. Each one of these is on its own separate pallet. I can only fit 4 buckets high. 2 deep is what I got here. They're on like a pallet on wheels, each section. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, right? There's 4 sections that can be taken apart and moved around if I need to. I never necessarily need to. It's 64 individual bins breaking down mostly house compost. Some of them here I'm experimenting with weeds. That we'll do a video on that where I'm experimenting with a bunch of weeds. Anything that's out in my backyard that's a green, I chop it up, mince it up fine, put it in a bucket. I pack it in a bucket full, add water on it, I cap it, and I kind of do a boccacci to it. I ferment it, not ferment it, right? So it's one unit. This thing is one worm farm in its own right with individual compartments. The drainage from this bucket goes all the way down to here and into this tubing here and to one location where I empty it there and I put it in my CBCBs. I'll do a short, more concise video on the system itself soon. So what do you think? That's how you make a fermenting bin. And that's all I have to say for now. I hope everybody's doing well in these trying times. God bless. Over and out.